Breaking news. Mass immigration, mass murder. Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, ground zero. I'm going to roll out in the link of this title. I have an entire slideshow. Cian Brixty from the Counter Signal and True North News runs an entire expose. Just emailed to me not 30 minutes ago. And guess what's in there? All the Canadian stats, all of them, on mass immigration, mass outflow of all those new immigrants for Canadian health care positions that we need to mass immigrate to Canada. And then within a year, these same people at a rate of 36% move on to the United States of America. EB3 visa. Bye. Sayonara, suckers. And Canadians pay for that. It's all there in the link of this title. If you haven't read the Counter Signal's work, if you haven't read True North's work, go read it. There is the tail of the tape. I take it even a step further. I show migration, mass migration from Canada's mass immigration to Edmonton, Alberta. 3 times the rate of the True North Counter Signal average to Edmonton, Alberta. 150,000 newcomers a year to Edmonton, Alberta. 2021 to now 2025. Folks who still don't get it, I gave you 2 videos, one of which just hours ago today, before this email. Before all of that, I even CC John Carpe, Justice Center of Constitutional Freedoms, and Edmonton's mass utilization of the MAID program that is now overtaken Canada-wide, but nowhere more so than Edmonton, Alberta, at a rate 3 times that of the rest of Canada, at 5.1% of all Canadian deaths this year were to the MAID program. Or on the slab, like that East Indian fella who didn't get the surgeon my daughter got and utilized because we booked in advance. I was prepared that day because I know just how shithole of a city Edmonton is now. And no fault of Canadians, no fault of the healthcare system, that regional model, that district model. It is absolutely, entirely from the premiers and the prime minister in mass immigration, unsustainable, highest rate immigration in the entire world, Edmonton, Alberta. Very close second is Calgary, Alberta, is as much shit as Edmonton. Those cities have been growing by epic bounds. This is why I know there will not be a successful Alberta independence. In fact, it's going to be an embarrassing outcome if that referendum comes here this year, whether people want to hear that or not. But the reality is, for all those crying in their soup, this has been the Canadian truth for 4 straight years. Nothing new to see here. In fact, Albertans are dying at an unprecedented rate. Highest Canada's ever seen in Edmonton, Alberta. Can only be summarized as mass murder. And that's what it is. Hitler-style genocide. What I've always tried to tell you. Numbers are here. Again, the MAID program in Edmonton, Alberta overtakes COVID-19 threefold from 2021 till 2025. It has surged past anything Canadians have ever seen, let alone Albertans. Mum's the word, nothing to say or see here. You think people dying on slabs in waiting rooms not getting treated is something new in Edmonton, Alberta? For those who don't get my video, where I ran from West Edmonton, the cutoff point of White Mud Drive, the only freeway besides the other side of Edmonton, Yellowhead Trail, the only two straight through east and west freeways. Why I highlighted that and the whole concept that that was closed all the way to 149th is then I cross the North Saskatchewan River once and then twice, because Edmontonians, there are 1.6 million of you. You have 4 hospitals, except for on that day, everybody who lived on the south side of Whitemud was pigeonholed into one hospital, the Grey Nuns. Unless you had a 4x4 like mine, and you could jump over all the other access routes, go 45 minutes out of your way, which some ambulances did. Most couldn't make it. No, I don't have videos of the day I took my daughter to surgery in a massive blizzard. You know why? Because I was gripped on my steering wheel, white-knuckled, and I plowed through, all the way through. I went around the city, through the hardened roads, the brutal roads, got to her. I left an hour early. I knew better. I got my daughter, I got her to the surgeon, and yes, she got priority. And that fella died on the slab. That's commonplace in Alberta, especially Edmonton, Alberta. The worst outcomes you're ever going to get is Edmonton. People who don't know this don't know what to tell you. I plan everything I do, especially my children. I book time off. I booked in advance. I came home to deal with what I had to do, and I knew people are going to suffer and die, and they do. And do I feel bad about mass immigration? Do I feel bad about Danielle Smith reworking the healthcare system? Explain to me, everybody, if you still don't get it, why 750,000 people cut off from the other 3 hospitals, all pushing to the Grey Nuns, because that's all you could get to. Ellerslie Road, that's all you had. That's all you had. 750,000 Edmontonians, one hospital alone. No Royal Alex, no Misericordia, even though they're closer, you wouldn't get through the traffic. It wasn't possible. I even know the hours it was closed. I know. I was through it that day. Got my daughter on time, 10 minutes to spare, with more than 2 hours hindsight up at the butt crack to make sure I got to where I needed to be. Navigated all the roads. That's the truth of just that day. Never mind the week after, the week before. Brutal Arctic temperatures, brutal snowfall, squalls, blizzards. That day was nothing but a blizzard. That's reality. This needs to be shared. The truth of what's happened to Alberta in mass immigration, which equals mass murder by Mark Carney, before him, Justin Trudeau, Danielle Smith, before her, Jason Kenney, and all the way through. They've been ramping this up since 1993. There isn't a conservative, liberal, NDP, Bloc, Green, People's Party of Canada. It does not matter. They're all richly rewarded for this hyper excessive, beyond London, England. Folks, I shot that video with my mother sitting beside me. Her maiden name is Hunter. Her family heritage all the way to England. My grandfather on my mother's side, London, England. Hunter, family crest and seal. They're all buried still outside of York. Mass cemetery there. My family rests there. Even my grandfather's buried there. My mother and my great aunt Ines went there. They went and looked at the skyline in London and said, New York is nothing compared to the density, the disgust of that London skyline and what they've done to the UK. Oh, big green spaces and massive vertical living destroyed the UK. And they're destroying Canada at an even faster rate, building straight up in a massive country, many times the size of that shit island. But in that design, where we're supposed to be no good, filthy fuck slave subjects, living dirtily, filthily, cramped, condensed, far spaces, these little islands, Ontario being the worst design, the unceded BC, absolutely the worst. But they manufactured this in the image of the UK to be exactly that, to make Canadians suffer in horrific Arctic condition. And people come here, new immigrants, they don't do well in the first year. They don't. Nobody talks about it. Do you know how many refugees die on the streets of Ontario? Last year, report that. I don't see that flooding the news, but any chance to crush on universal health care? Oh, everyone's there, but they leave out all the incredible evil details of the dirty fascist socialist crown that creates it, putting havoc on the Alberta Canadian people, but nowhere worse than Alberta, I assure you. I work in Ontario. Healthcare is tremendously better in much denser Ontario than it is in Alberta. Why? Because Alberta's going through an unprecedented growth rate where net migration plus immigration is through the roof like nowhere else in the world. Edmonton's the worst in the entire world. Ground zero. Danielle Smith brags openly about Agenda 2050, brags openly about a 10 million Alberta population by 2030. Are you insane? And all they care about is how much debt loading they can put on all their filthy subjects. They don't care. They're getting rich. You're dying. You're going broke. And you're taking the MAID program 3 times the rate of people claimed to have died in COVID-19 under John Carpe's meticulous numbers and accounting. Justice Center of Constitutional Freedoms. Cian Brexty carries on, emails me all the results of True North News and the Counter Signals investigation into the entire year of Alberta's mass immigration and mass utilization of the MAID program. Heritage Foundation. Oh yeah, what all the Americans are talking about that they're trying to force into the States, and Trump goes, I don't have nothing to do with this. It's because it's from Alberta, Canada. It's from Danielle Smith as she tries to poison what she's already poisoned with New York, Illinois, and California. Same with Quebec, Montreal. Same with Ontario, GTA. They've been poisoning the northern states, those particular, for many decades against the principles of the Constitution of the United States. These are human travesties. These are evil people. Danielle Smith is not revamping Alberta's healthcare, not making it better for anybody. And so for people to know, I paid for that surgeon my daughter utilized. I prepaid. I used the private system in Alberta. I've had to. I was forced into it. If you don't got the money, you don't have good health outcomes. That's the truth. The evil of Canada is right in front of us. It is nothing of America. America couldn't even understand it except to live it. You want to see it? Come spend a year in Edmonton, Alberta. Spend a harsh winter in Edmonton, Alberta. Bring all your cash and good luck on your health outcomes when the shit hits the fan. You better be ready, like myself. And that comes from living in a deteriorated system, watching it become third world. You fund it more than ever. My taxes, beyond all measure. I file in Alberta every year. No matter where I work, I keep my home here. I file here for a much shittier health system at way more the cost, even utilizing the private, just to keep my kids alive. That's pathetic. That's Canada. Pathetic. You can't find a Liberal, a Conservative, NDP, Green, Bloc, People's Party of Canada, any of these filthy fuck crown politicians to come forward with the truth that they're mass genociding you all in the name of their wealth increases. And here's another one for Grok and the moron Elon Musk, who's no genius. Because you got to be some kind of moron. Your grokky eye goes, oh, there's going to be mass lawsuits over this, blah, 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 blah. You don't know nothing about Canada, especially Americans, especially the Dumbo Elon Musk. You show me a successful lawsuit against any Crown organization, authority, or ministry, federally or provincially, ever in Canada. I'll give you this, dumbass. There isn't any. In Canada, you can't sue. I know. Americans who suffered through a drug released that the CDA banned. My daughter was wrecked for that. My ex-wife was taking that drug, prescribed by a Canadian doctor. Oh, sure, class action lawsuit in the United States. All those parents who had the same outcomes as my daughter on birth, they all got richly rewarded and paid out. Do you know what I got as a Canadian? Fuck you. Healthcare will cover all of it, but they don't. I've spent tens upon tens of thousands of dollars beyond all the lies of the Canadian model, having to utilize everything private, which is non-existent in Alberta or the rest of Canada. You get a lifetime $2,500 if you're a high-end middle-class earner. Nothing like the United States. Employers don't come to my rescue. My union benefits burned up by the time my daughter was 4 years old. I've been paying out of pocket all the way through in the private model, utilizing a private American team. Oh yeah, and if I'm lucky, taxpayers come along and shoulder it with me for partial. But then there's the private you gotta come up with, dummy. Oh yeah, all the Americans richly rewarded and paid out, all of their children restored at no cost to them. Cost me tens upon tens of thousands of dollars with a shit pie in my face from the Canadian model year after year, and a government backstabbing, betraying you every election cycle. That's what the evil of Canada is. I know it very well. I've learned it a long time ago, and then I've watched the crumbling system over the life of my children. And the days come where I wonder, is Jerica not going to be able to get her life-saving diabetes medication? Is there going to come a time when my benefits are over, which is 21 years old, 1 year from now? Is she going to have a stable middle-income job after college in this shit country to pay for the car payment size life-saving medication she needs? Danielle Smith and Mark Carney say, no, not people like that. Drug addicts get free cocaine, free meth, free heroin, you name it, we supply it. But not people with diabetes where they can't live without the drug. You'll learn to work hard, you'll pay for the drug, but all the fuck-ups and losers get it all free. Line up, we're going to drug them all up. The Crown has always been evil. Americans have no clue, and I don't mean to belittle, but when you live in a society of equality of the person and you've never wrestled with these truths with an evil regime government, no matter what it calls itself left to right, that often acts like one of yours when it's nothing like you. Liberal and conservative are not even American Webster words. Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal, those come from your religious zealots, largely attached to Muslim, Judaism, and Catholic. I'm sorry, but that's what polluted the Webster's dictionary, because those words aren't there. They're Oxford. Just so Americans know. If you didn't know this, Elon Musk is 100% Oxford. He's an evil man. I was in your Texas, And I blew up the other day because people are talking to me and sitting here Elon Musk video running down Edmonton. I was in Texas for the Arctic Blast. I spent a week there with my friend Richard Albert and many academics throughout the world. I got a constitutional symposium session 1 week. We had justices from all over the world I got to meet as an average Joe. Spent a week there. But you know what came off the plane with me in Austin, Texas? The Arctic. It was minus 1 degree Celsius. Upwards of the wind, -3. Texans lost their shit. It was travesty all through Texas. Nobody could handle it. There were deaths that week. I'm walking around in my suit jacket. Everyone's wearing a parka. I wasn't happy with the weather, but it was nothing to me. I could have camped outside if I had to. Of course I didn't. I'm just saying that if you experienced -22 to -25 degrees Fahrenheit in Texas, you'd have 5,000 dead Austonians. That's a reality. Gone. It would be a national crisis, world news. Your hospital's overrun, finished, collapsed, waterline breakages, people dead in their houses. Seniors getting picked up all over. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. And that was the reality of Edmonton, Alberta for the last 2 weeks up until 2 days ago. Brutal. Huge sections of Edmonton pigeonholed into one hospital that happened to be the Grey Nuns. If you lived on one side of the White Mud, 750,000 of you had only the Grey Nuns Hospital. I know. I drove it. I told you how I got there. Because I certainly didn't take White Mud. And that's me in a jacked up truck 4x4 with a monster bumper. With monster tires. I did it. I can tell you I did come across emergency vehicles. Not good. 30, 40 vehicles along my trail. Broken down, wiped out, off the trail. That bad. No, I didn't video it. Who's going to white knuckle video anything? It's my daughter's surgery. It was critical. Point critical. My wiper blades were screwed. I got my hand out the window smashing my wiper blades. It was that bad. This is the truth. This is epic reality, and people need to get it in their head. It scares me, the level of ignorance in Canada. I can understand the American ignorance. I give no pass to that fuckwad Elon Musk. He's a billionaire with massive resources. He should easily get all this. And his AI lawsuits? Where have you been, moron? Where have you been? That's my video. It is so important to share. Get the truth out there. This is Reality Canada, and it's an epicenter, Edmonton, Alberta, closely followed by Calgary, Alberta. Anyone who thinks Canada or Alberta is some magnificent place, you're off your rocker. It is mass immigrated, migrated, beyond all measure. Those who followed me for a long time, you saw my grad videos. Could I make that up at the Shaw Conference Center? Did you see the faces of the kids? I show you the screen. I filmed that. Even the lineup of all the thousands of kids in a Catholic Edmonton school. 12 Caucasian kids in classes and a graduating class of 2,000. Think about that. That is the state of Edmonton, Alberta. And if you don't know that, I don't know what to tell you. You're living a lie. You're living in a bubble. God bless. That's my video. Share. Get it out there. Bye now.